Hey crafters, it's Janet with Crafting It Up in Creations, coming at you today with a Pinterest inspired decor piece. So I absolutely love this, and I don't have a way to give the person credit who came up with the idea because the girl that pinned it is just pinning a pin. It doesn't go back to a link or it doesn't lead you to anything, but I'm going to use some Target Dollar Spot and of course Dollar Tree items to recreate this. And I think what I came up with is some pretty cool pieces, and you'll have to let me know at the end which one was your favorite because I ended up making 3 of them. Now I've been using these chopping mats before they became cool to protect my work surface. I love them. If I can find the kid mats, sometimes they'll have the kid ones in the Dollar Trees. They're like slightly bigger, or maybe it's even one of those equals 2 of these, but I love these. Now Dollar Tree had these last year around Christmas, so be on the lookout if you want to recreate this. You could actually use this as your base and just pull off that top, or leave the top and make it look like it is a ornament. But I love the size of those is nice, but it wasn't quite as big. Now they do have charger plates at the Dollar Tree, and these have that faux wood look to them. This would be a great alternative as well. And the only thing that I would say on this one, in order to get your metal words to stick, you would just need to get a really good glue. And hanging this might not be a very good option, but you could always use those little picture frame holders that the Dollar Tree has. Now this is a charger plate that is from the Target Dollar Spot. Of course it has a tree on it. This is from last Christmas, no lie. But I decided I love the wood grain look of this, and I'm gonna just paint over that tree anyway. Now if you're smarter than I am, you'll realize that maybe when you paint you should put the tree in like the 10 or 11 o'clock position if this was a clock, but I painted straight across. But honestly you can't hardly see it, and a few of the by the time I added the flowers and stuff to it, it hid that anyway on a couple of them. I think one of them I didn't quite hide it real well, but you still can't see it. This is a little thing of pip berries that I bought from Michael's last year on clearance, like 80 or 90% off. Yeah, they're not, I wouldn't pay full price for those, but I love them. These are metal words that the Dollar Tree had last year. They say harvest, welcome, and thankful. They are awesome. I hope they bring those back too. And then they have these scatters and fillers at Hobby Lobby this year as well, but they look like little cotton pieces, and I'm going to add some of those to the arrangement. And then of course these are at the Dollar Tree almost every fall, autumn. They have these little leaves, and they came in green and the burlap color, orange and red, and they're a mixture. Like they have the oak leaves, the maple leaves, all kinds of different ones. And I've have them in my stash. I feel like for sure they'll bring them back again this year, but I love those. And I think they were like 5 or 6 to a pack. This is an all-time favorite that they had last year, is these little clip pumpkins. I just love them. You can pull them off of that clip if you want to pretty easily and just use, you know, the pumpkin part and kind of smush it down. But this is what the pack looked like last year, and they came in a set of 3. And they had these really cute white ones, and of course they had orange ones as well. And I wanted to recreate maybe the little hanging element with the scarf, but I didn't end up using that for any of them. But I thought in case you wanted to recreate the original pin, that would be a good idea of using that for. I'm going to use a little makeup sponge and a regular paintbrush, and then I'm going to use these are from the Dollar Tree as well, just to put on the back to hang it by. And they have a little place where you can have a screw, but of course these little charger plates just aren't long enough. But I just used hot glue, and I used the Gorilla Glue Sticks hot glue for this. And then this is Folk Art's Rich Black chalk paint. I wanted a matte finish just like that was in the picture, so this is what I chose to use for that. And I love chalk paint. It dries fast and you just get really good results. Like, you don't have to prime anything to use it, so it's just one of those great alternatives. Now I'm going to take the painter's tape and section off an area that I wanted to keep the wood grain by itself. And I'm just going to stick 2 different pieces of tape on there and have that one little section open. Now, in advance, to tell you the truth, I had decided to maybe even stain this, which was an awesome idea because I love the results. So if I could go back, I wouldn't have taped this down and painted it first. I would have actually put the stain on first. And I'll show you my boo-boo later of where I put the stain on afterwards and had to actually go back and repaint that section, because you could tell where the stain was, it was just a little bit slicker looking than the rest of the flat black. So learn from my mistakes. If you're gonna stain it first. And then of course below the tape and above the tape, I'm just gonna paint it with that flat black paint. And I even go all the way around the edges. These are edged with like a gold foil color, but once I accidentally went off to the side, I went ahead and just did it. Now I put on gloves because, you know, when you go to work and you're a nurse and you have black under your fingernails, you gotta worry that people wonder what in the world you're doing, or if your hands are clean. So I decided to save myself some issues of having to really scrub my nails, that I would just put on a glove. I probably should have put it on both hands. I'm going to show you a little trick. If you notice when you get all that painting on there, you'll see that there's ridges across there. I go back and pull the paintbrush straight across so that there's no actual lines. And I try to do that, and it actually helps pull up some of the excess paint, and it dries quicker. Now I use this Varathane classic wood stain in Jacobean, and I love this color. It is so pretty. This is the one that I was like in love with as soon as I saw it. Look how pretty that is. I mean, it just adds so much to that piece. I'm thinking now that even if I hadn't have decided to paint these, even just staining those would add so much to it. And these little charger plates are only $3. So if you can find them this year, I would nab them up pretty quickly. Now I didn't quite wait for this to dry before I added the tape on there, and it really didn't make a difference. The problem is sometimes that tape just won't stick very well, so you just have to watch. But I'm going to show you real quick how good this looks. I'm going to paint it real quick and then pull that tape off and just show you the difference. What a difference. a difference makes when you add that stain to it. It is so pretty. I love it. And then here you can kind of see in this picture even, this is the one that I added the stain afterwards. But mostly what I wanted to show you up close was the little makeup sponge trick. I'm just taking it with a little bit of paint and going right around the edges, and it kind of adds just a little bit of a faint black line right to the top edge. You know, it pushes in just enough, but not like the paintbrush itself, which you can end up messing up your piece if you don't watch, because it wants to go in too far. But I love how that outlines it, and it looks so good. It makes such a big difference. And here's the area that I'm talking about, really, of what to watch for. If you look all the way across the top edge of that, you can tell the little bit of difference where that stain went versus where I had the actual black paint. So I did go back and reline that with some more paint again to kind of hide it. And these are all the word sayings. I decided to go out and spray paint them with some flat black paint because I just thought that definitely gave them more a way to stand out on there. And I'm kind of just showing you now what I was doing when I was putting some of this stuff together to kind of see what it looked like. and putting it on there. But in the end, honestly, I ended up grabbing a popsicle stick and attaching the pumpkins onto that, and then attaching everything around it. And I'll show you that here in just a little bit. These little pip berries, they are so cute. I ended up cutting off like 2 sections of them and then doubling that over and then wrapping itself at the bottom around it to hold it in place. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here in just a second. I kind of folded it over just so that a lot of berries were there in that one area, because if it was spread out by itself, it looked kind of sparse looking to me. And then I take the rest of the end of it and then just wrap it around there. And that gives you something extra to even have glue setting against, to have that bigger piece there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. I threw a couple of those little burlap leaves in there. And then I'm going to even end up adding some of the lamb's ear. Now, I got this lamb's ear on clearance. I would never pay $7.99 for that little bit of lamb's ear. But I do love my fuzzy flowers. I wish the Dollar Tree would get those back in. If I could find more of those, I would buy them in a heartbeat. But I really like these lamb's ears. But like I say, I would never pay that for them. I did get them on sale or clearance, one or the other, but I never would pay full price for anything anyway. And I kind of just look at it and kind of arranged all 3 of them a little bit differently. I used a lot of things from the Dollar Tree on these, but I've mixed it up a little bit with things from Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And I really love these little cotton pieces to go in there too. And then I decided to add some eucalyptus. Now this is from Walmart and it's $2 for this humongous bunch of eucalyptus. Like, you can't beat that. They used to have dollar ones that were only like 1 piece of what this is. But $2 for this big bunch, it's so worth it. It's like 4 times the amount of what you were getting before. I really love those. And I really love using eucalyptus anyway. And then I had these little lavender flowers. They're also from Walmart. I didn't add it to this one, but I did end up adding those to one of the other charger plates that I did. And I love me some purple. But I thought it was too much for this one because of the lamb's ear. And I only had 1 thing of the lamb's ear, so that's why I ended up not using it with this one, but I did use it on another one. Like I say, I kind of play around. I'm trying to decide if I want to use 3 little cotton stems or not. And then I figured out maybe to get all this stuff to stay together and have a good area to be able to glue it down with is to add the popsicle stick. And the Dollar Tree sells them. They have a big old huge pack that you can buy. I start wrapping the leaves around the little pumpkin. A lot of this stuff has wire to it, and it just makes it so nice to be able to shape it around or move stuff around the way you want it to. Now, if I would have been able to find my floral wire that I just bought, I would have used it. But instead, I did use some floral tape, which worked just as well. It worked fine. But I think if I had had the floral wire, I probably could have used less, and maybe I would have been a little less frustrated. But I'm going to end up using the floral tape to kind of attach everything and hold everything together. And it's kind of nice. I mean, if I'd have had the wire, it would have went around in little nooks and crannies even better, but the tape did too. I'm just real bad about, you know, you've got to kind of pull that tape in order to get the stickiness to come, and that's what kind of holds it all together. I was really bad about pulling that apart every time that I would wrap it around. Now, these little feathers are $2.99. I got this other pack for about the same price. They were from Hobby Lobby. Michael's, everywhere just about has some feathers that you can get. But I thought these looked more like they were more fall colored, I guess you could say. And so that's why I chose these. And I picked out 4 to add to each side. And then I picked out 4 feathers for each charger plate so that I could add 2 to the each side of the floral bouquet that I did. And here I'm showing you that floral tape. And all in all, for the most part, I was using supplies that I already had on hand. For this project in itself, I had already bought the scarf and everything to use for DIYs. And I ended up making a small little bow with it, but I didn't use it as the hanging piece like the original one had. And I ended up bumping the camera, I believe, twice in this section where I was wrapping this tape around. I was getting it. I really love these. I think that I'm going to go ahead and put them on my Facebook page and see if anybody's interested in one of them or anything like that. But we'll see. Y'all will have to let me know which one's your favorite, or if you think this was a good idea. Well, you know. I hope that even with, you know, different things that I do or show you, that you're inspired. Maybe you take away from it and make it so completely different, but you still got, you know, some kind of idea from me that you can take away from this to have some fun with your crafting. Now, I used this Sharpie pen and I wanted to say Happy Harvest. And I did write it, and I did not like my handwriting. I sketched it out in pencil first. I just wasn't happy with the way it looked. I thought the happy might have needed to even be a little bit bigger. But I ended up painting over that. And I think if I go back and re-add that to this, I'm going to use my silhouette and cut out vinyl to add to it, because I think that would just look so much better. My handwriting is not that bad, but I always feel like on something like this that I just messed something up. But that white pen, I did end up using it to draw a line between the black and the stained part, and then I used this golden one on the other two, just to kind of separate it. And I think it really added something to it. You'll have to tell me at the end in the last few pictures that I show you if you like that added accent to it. But I really thought that it created something between those two color changes, and it also helped, like on the black painted part where I messed up by restaining it. I actually went into the wood part a little bit on one area, and it actually helped hide that. So I thought, well, it all worked out. I use a little hot glue to attach this little hanger to the back. Honestly, if it's a little heavier on one side or the other, you would want to put the hanger closest to the heavier side, and that way when you hang it up, it'll hang straight. Ask me how I know. I had to pull one off and re-glue it. I'm going to add the little feathers to this one. I just thought they made such a cute little added element to these. Are y'all ready for fall? I mean, I'm not. I'm not ready for school to start. I hate sending my kids back to school. I hate it. I'm not one of those parents that's gleeful at that. I love sleeping in. and let me tell you, my sleeping in is usually only till about 7 or 8 anyway, but still. Something about not having to set your alarm just makes your whole mood so much better. So I love summer. I'm just gonna, I used quite a few glue sticks on this, but I also used fabri-tac. I kind of pour it down into that area. And if you're really good using one of those Dollar Tree clamps out of their automotive section to kind of hold this down until all this dries really well, is even a great idea. You just got to make sure you don't get the glue on the clamp as well. But I put this down in there, and then I doubled over it with the hot glue, which kind of bubbled and made a good little mess. I would only worry about maybe the fumes on something like that. Not making sure you don't breathe it in. But it was a way to kind of help make sure that it stayed put. And then once that fabri-tac takes hold, it is some awesome glue. And I'm kind of pulling it back so I can see myself. And I'm sorry that I kind of went out of frame on that part. Now, this is another option that the Dollar Tree has. They have some feathers that are out right now, and that would be so cute added to that as well. So this one is the thankful one. I ended up adding some Dollar Tree, they look like sunflowers, but I'm not sure if that's what they are. And then I used the orange leaves with the burlap over them, the eucalyptus, and then a couple of the feathers, and of course still the pumpkins and the cotton pieces. And that one's thankful, and it has the outline in gold. And I really love how these turned out. I love them. And then this one is the harvest, and this one is outlined in the white. And then for the word harvest, I kind of outlined or highlighted different areas of the word harvest to kind of draw that out. I can't make up my mind if I really love that or not, so I may end up going back and just painting over the little highlighted parts. I'm not sure. It doesn't look bad, but I'm afraid it just draws too much attention away from everything else. But this one has the lamb's ear, the eucalyptus, the pip berries, the burlap leaves just in the brown color, the feathers, and the cotton pieces. And here's a couple still shots of it. And all these set nicely flush against the wall. The only thing I would just recommend is if you have yours a little heavier on one side, to put your hanger closest to the heavier side, and that'll make it set right. This last one is the welcome one, and I used the orange leaves with the burlap over top of those. A couple of the dahlias that are in the fallish colors at the Dollar Tree, some of the eucalyptus, and I did end up using those little purple flowers on this one as well. And of course the pumpkins and the cotton pieces. But I really love this one. I think the welcome one might be my favorite. I'm probably just partial to the purple flowers. I don't know. But anyways, if you have any questions or comments, of course, leave them down below. As always, thanks so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. I tried to shorten this because it's a pretty simple video, but I just couldn't get it under 20 or even 15 minutes. I just couldn't, and I sped up a lot of things. So if you have any questions, because I kind of went through that really fast, let me know down below. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you ring the bell, that'll notify you every time I upload a video. And when you hit that bell, it does help my channel. It helps YouTube recognize me a little bit more, and it will help me know if you like this type of content, if I should still keep doing it or not. So thanks as always. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you get a moment to craft it up, and I hope you all take care. Bye.